Hope you're doing well. I'm actually following up today on a video that I started a couple of weeks ago when I installed the Redshift Shockstop. Oh gosh, I start again. Shockstop, right, Shockstop. The Redshift Shockstop suspension, seat post and stem on my gravel bike. The video that I did back then was an installation video and gave a rundown of the main features of these two products. So if you want to see that, then click the link up here. But today I'm going to follow that up with a first ride on these and let you know my first impressions. Well, actually, strictly speaking, it's not first impressions. So after I filmed the first video, the installation one, I actually took this setup out for a first ride, but it just didn't feel right. So I knew that I didn't have it set up correctly. So I scheduled a call with Redshift and I've made a few adjustments to the setup. I've got different elastomers in here and I have really tightened up the suspension on the seat post because I found that it was just giving me too much sag. I figure that today is my first proper test ride because the previous ride I actually didn't have these set up properly, so it wasn't really a fair test. So just quickly before I go, I'll let you know that the seat post gives you, I think, 35mm of travel. The stem gives you 10mm if you've got flat bars, 20mm if you've got drops like I've got, and I'll just show you what they look like when you press on them. So you can see it gives you a bit of give, and then this, I've got this pretty solid, so it shouldn't affect my pedaling too much. Anyway, I'm not going to keep chatting. I'm going to get on. I'm going to go and do a local gravel route that has a lot of different terrain, different surfaces. It's got really rocky, gnarly bridleway stuff. It's got gravel roads, flat stuff, steep stuff, descents, some tarmac. So I should be able to put these through their paces and give you some good feedback. This isn't a review. It's just a first ride, second ride. But yeah, let's go. Verdict is, so far, it's a hella fun setup. It's just fun, it's fast. I just hammered it down a gnarly bit, handled it really well, and I feel sure that I got a better place on the Strava rankings with that little effort. I'm pretty sure of it. Oh my god, I did a mega sprint up the first hill because I decided I wanted to get the Queen of the Mountain, because all of a sudden live segments came on my bike computer, which I wasn't expecting. So I absolutely smashed it without a proper warm-up, and I got the Queen of the Mountain because it flashed up on my bike computer. But it kills my lungs when I do a big effort and I haven't warmed up properly. Anyway, that's not what this video is about. Wanted to give you my first impressions of the stem and seat post. The seat post, I've got it done up so much more than was initially suggested on the instructions, like way more. It feels comfortable, it doesn't feel too saggy. The stem, maybe I don't have very smooth pedal action, but I felt that I was sort of getting a bit of a bob or a dive in synchronization with my pedaling. So I'd be riding along the road and I'm pedaling like this, and the stem would start sort of bobbing a bit like that as well. So that's not ideal on the road. I didn't particularly like that sensation, but I've just absolutely razzed it down a tricky off-road section, down a really rocky bridleway, and it felt good. So I guess the answer is I need to ride more. Also, I probably need to test the stem and the seat post independently, and then I can fine-tune the setup of each one individually. But I'm just going to carry on riding, and then I'll check in with you and tell you more about what I think. have a closer look at the stem and seat post in this ridiculously pretty spot. Look, thatched cottage behind, rolling hills. So nice, isn't it? So, stem, I think that looks pretty decent. And this weighs about 280 grams. It depends on the length. This has got a 6 degree plus or minus rise, and it's 90 mil. Here is the seat post. Yeah, again, I've seen some god-awful looking suspension seat posts, so I don't mind this, but it still weighs in at nearly half a kilo. So, a bit more riding needs to be done before I decide that is half a kilo of extra weight it's worth lugging around. Well, obviously it's not half a kilo extra, because you'd have to have a seat post anyway, but it weighs a hell of a lot more than my carbon zip one, so let's see. Before we go though, just another look at this amazing view. I mean, wow. I still don't like the sensation of bobbing a little with the stem on the road, so I think maybe if I change the elastomers, stiffened it up a bit, that would disappear, but then it's going to make it less good on the bumpy section, so it's all a play-off. Anyway, last couple of segments, then I'm home. Oh, that's love, that is. Dave's cleaning the dog poo off my tyre. Anyway, let me put this down and let you know what I thought of the setup. So I'm back, and I thought I would give you my first impressions of the setup. The number one thing that comes to mind is fun. It's fun. It's just a really, really fun setup. It's fast on all the techie bits, and those are the bits that I like. It's also really fast on like flat out gravel sections. You can sprint, it feels good. It's fun, it's fast. Thumbs up. The less positive point I would say is that on draggy tarmac, like stuff where you're not pinning it, you can feel the kind of sag, and it's hard to know whether that's the stem or the seat post or a combination of the two. I mean, I've stiffened the seat post up so much so it shouldn't really sag that much, but just you can feel this sort of bob as you're labouring along the road, and that's not, I don't particularly like that. However, you know, you've got to think, weigh it up and think, is the sheer fun of this setup off-road worth putting up with a bit of sag on-road? I guess it depends what you're mainly going to be riding. The other thing I noticed is that when off-road I was doing some pretty full-on segments, and I did feel the stem kind of bottom out. I mean, I don't know if, can you say bottom out, because it's not like a fork, but it felt like it reached its limit and it sort of clunked. So it kind of felt or sounded like my headset was loose, which it isn't. Obviously, it's only got a limited amount of travel. It's only designed for a certain kind of terrain, I suppose. So if you really push it, then obviously you're going to reach its limit. So would I put this on my bike permanently? Well, it would kind of depend on what sort of thing I was doing, what I was going to ride and what I was going to race. If it was all off-road and it was kind of fun, shred sort of stuff, then I would definitely have this, because it makes the bike feel really, really fun, and it's kind of turned a bike with 700c wheels into something that feels more playful and more like a 650B equipped gravel bike. So that's definitely a plus. If I was doing something that was like really long with big segments on the road in between, then I don't know, because I just didn't really like it on the road, gotta say. I mean, the fast bits of the road, yeah, but the draggy bits, like on the climb, you can feel it on climbs on tarmac, and I'm crap at climbing anyway, so didn't like that. But I don't know. All in all, I think it just kind of depends on what you're riding, and it kind of depends what bike you're putting it on and what wheels you've got and all sorts of other things. So that's my first impressions. Let me know if you've got any comments or questions. Also, I could do a video comparing this to the other suspension seat post I've got, and to the lav fork, and 700c wheels versus 650B wheels, a whole sort of roundup of the best options for your gravel bike. Let me know if you'd be interested in that, and other than that, good night.